Okay, so I've been learning about Pythagoras, and the dirt on him is just too good. You've probably heard of the Pythagorean theorem, but not the part where Pythagoras was a crazy cult leader who thought he'd made a deal with a god thousands of years ago and could remember all of his past lives. Oh, and he killed a guy. I mean, maybe it was a long time ago. And he was afraid of beans. As in beans, they just freaked him out or something, I don't know. But mostly I want to talk about the murdery part. See, Pythagoras and his cult of Pythagoreans had this cool kids club where they'd talk about proportions all day. They'd be like, hey, I drew a 2x3 rectangle using a straight edge and compass. Isn't that awesome? And then someone would be like, hey guys, I have a box that's 2x3.5. And the cool kids would be like, 3.5? That's not a number. Get out of our club. And then they'd make the units half the length and call it 4x7, and everything was okay. Even if your box is 2.718 by 6.28, you could just divide your units into thousandths, and you'd get a box that's a nice, even 2,718 by 6,280. It's not a simple proportion, but hey, the box still has a whole number proportion, so Pythagoras is happy. Unless it's a box of beans, then he freaks out. I like to imagine what it would be like to think of numbers the way they did. Maybe you think of numbers as being on a line. Numbers one way, then zero and negative numbers the other, and there are numbers between the numbers, fractions, irrationals, filling in the gaps. But Pythagoras didn't think about numbers like this at all. They weren't points in a continuum, they were each their own separate being. Which is still pretty modern, because before that people only thought of numbers as adjectives, numbers of. In Pythagoras' world, there is no number between 7 and 8, and there isn't a number 3/2 so much as a relationship between 3 and 2, a proportion. 6:4 has the same relationship, because the numbers share this evenness, which, when accounted for, makes it 3:2. The universe, to Pythagoras, was made up of these relationships. Mathematics wasn't numbers. Mathematics was between the numbers. But while people admire how much Pythagoras loved proportions, there's a dark flip side to that obsession. How far was he willing to go to protect the proportions he loved? Would he kill for them? Would he die for them? And the answer was he'd go pretty far until beans got